I never expected every day to come back home alive. Every day I felt that's the last day of my life.
From 1939 to 1945, Les Banos put his life on the line. At 16, he joined the Hungarian underground. Hungary had joined with Germany in the Axis in 1940. A few years later, he and his family hid hundreds of people facing deportation. And then Les joined the Nazi SS as a spy. He wrote about his experiences in the book, If They Catch You, You Will Die.
In 1939, way before the Germans came in, the Hungarian underground against the Nazis was forming. And they recruited me to work for the underground and put me in a factory. The factory employed about 35,000 to 40,000 people that did everything from dive bombers to tanks. And I was giving a daily report what was going on there. I was born in Nyírbátor, Hungary, which was located near the Romanian and Slovakian border, the small town. But I was educated and I lived in Budapest. My uncle, he was the head of the Steelworkers Union of Hungary, so he wasn't a Nazi. Secondly, he was the editor of Social Democratic newspaper, and under his influence, I had to be an anti-Nazi, and everything what we can do, I did in order to fight Nazis.
Les provided the underground with all kinds of information about the steelworks, but he and his family didn't stop there. In 1943, they began hiding people who were slated for deportation to Nazi slave labor camps in the small factory his family owned in Budapest.
I just tried to open the wall for the purpose to find a pathway to the other part of the factory in case if the people coming in here, they were able to escape because there was an exit from the other way. And suddenly I find the sewer system there. And that's when I thought, okay, that's a great place to put there.
Les and his family saved about 200 people by giving them a hiding place. But he took an even greater risk when the OSS approached him. The Office of Strategic Services was the American intelligence agency working behind enemy lines. They recruited Les to pose as a Hungarian Nazi to gather important information.
1943, I was called in to Mr. Schweiker. That's the first time I met him, Julius Schweiker. And he says to me, we have an assignment for you. We know that you speak German. And we have a paper here for a German who came from Romania because Russians came already there. And this guy apparently either died or whatever happened to him. They have all his papers. And he said, under his name, would you be willing to take a risk in your life and join the German army?
For the next year and a half, Les took the identity of that German, George Naveh, serving the Nazis as a liaison between the Hungarian and German Nazi Party. His job as an interpreter and driver gave him a lot of freedom of movement.
I tried to get this information for them, for instance, from troop movement to orders of deportation and military situation in around Budapest. Since I was in headquarters, I know when they had the deportation orders for the people. And since I was working with the Hungarian Nazis and I was speaking Hungarian and German, they told me they want no paper trail. So everything what we did was verbally. All the orders were verbal. So when I received an order that tomorrow morning a division has to go there, pick up the people in the Budapest ghetto and take it to the railroad station to be deported, I went there and I told them, you don't have to do anything, wait until a further order comes.
Les stopped the deportation long enough for some of the Jews to avoid transport. In posing as a Nazi, Les could save people from almost certain death.
I have my documents which I made up, this, that said that George Naveh is an officer of the SS headquarters, and everybody should follow his order because his order come from the headquarters. And I signed General Wiedemeyer, and nobody ever seen his signature, so I could have shown down howdy doody, wouldn't make any difference, you know.
Les used his fake documents many times to help people escape. Sometimes they were people he knew, but usually they were complete strangers.
We try to save people, whatever you can do. One day I was driving back for an assignment, and I see a big crowd, and I thought, my God, what the hell are they doing?
The group had found a Jew without his yellow star on and was turning him into the Nazis. Quickly thinking, Les pretended to be looking for him, put him in his custody, and sent him to freedom.
I told him, listen, don't worry. I tried to save you.
Another time, Les learned that some little Jewish girls were hiding in an orphanage that had been emptied by the Nazis. He found 2 children seeking shelter inside a piano, put them in his SS car, and spirited them to safety. And he helped drive downed American and British fighter pilots to safety, arriving with his German military car in the middle of the night.
Drove him down to Chapel Island, to the main street in the front of a church. And the Yugoslav partisans waited for us because they know my car, they know I will deliver it. I drove the car there. Again, I don't talk. I had order not to talk to anybody and don't ask anybody anything. And these people, they were all civilian clothes already, you know. So what happened, the partisans, whoever they were, they opened the back door, took the people out, hit the top of the car. I went back again.
He stole official stamps and falsified papers to help people escape.
And I stamped it and I signed General Wiedemeyer. This was life and death because the head of the German occupation force, their General Wiedemeyer signature was on it with the official stamp. So this paper saved their lives. Many times you had to do things, you know, on the spur of the moment. You do many times things which you cannot rehearse, that don't teach you in West Point or any other place.
At the risk of his life and the lives of his family, Les did what he could to stop the Nazi brutality and killings.
I did whatever I had to do and help everybody whom I can help. It's very simple.